make any claims. The body knows how to heal itself. Just make the body, create this environment for the body to heal, and it does the work.
Your body is smart enough once it's regulated and you have coherence between the environment bioelectrically, your state and your nervous system.
This is science. This isn't woo-woo. This is something that truly moves the needle in real life situations where it can be verified by science what's happening to your body.
I definitely had an advantage for looking at this industry in a different way.
Welcome to the Brain Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick Porter. Please join us on our mission to better a billion brains. Enjoy the episode and remember to share it with your family and friends.
Welcome to It's Not Woo, It's Brain Science, the show where we explore science shaping tomorrow's breakthroughs in brain health, longevity, and human performance. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most exciting frontiers in regenerative wellness, the evolution of PEMF into what's now called DEMP, Digital Electromagnetic Pulse Therapy. Joining us is Jessica Merlino, a Mayo Clinic certified wellness coach and co-founder of the pioneering technology redefining how we approach cellular regeneration. Her company is setting a new luxury standard in non-invasive frequency-based healing. And it's not just about feeling better, but performing and recovering like never before. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on, Dr. Porter.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about when you looked at the PMF market seems to be a little crowded. I'm glad that BrainTap isn't part of that crowd. We've had a lot of people try to knock us off, but one thing is some people can try to duplicate, but you can never replicate because ours has so many different moving variables. But when we talk about the body, and we love PMF, and now I'm loving what I'm learning when I researched and met you, and I talked about you talk about digital electronic magnetic frequencies. So tell me a little bit about, in your discovery of this, how did this all come about, and what was your driving force for this?
Yeah, so I actually met and partnered with the head engineer of our team of engineers who have been developing this equipment for 30 plus years. So they had originally started with analog devices and over the last 30 years have continued to develop. And what they saw in the market and what they experienced themselves is many PEMF companies that exist today are localized. And even the ones that provide full body mats and apparatuses may not have enough power to fully encompass the body and enough of an energy field to start regulating the environment. So with that, the growing industry in 2020, PEMF became a class 2 wellness. You don't have to be a doctor to operate it. And it was doing so many, and still has so many amazing things. It's a very strong foundation. But the range of frequencies and the ability to encompass the whole body as well as a digital delivery were all things that stuck out to us. So we do have a full body device that's able to encompass you in a 3-foot cocoon of energy. And our whole focus is creating a bioelectrical environment to create a coherence with the cellular map of the body. So we only use between 0 and 100 hertz. And we've found that those frequencies mimic the Earth's natural state. So the body doesn't have to try to figure out
You're singing my love language.
Ways.
That's what I tell people every day, so that's great.
We don't need high frequencies from what we're trying to accomplish with ours and what we are accomplishing. And then we also have different antennas that can add additional power localized. So with that and with the digital delivery, I think a common misconception or what's kind of being taught as all these companies are coming out is that high intensity and high frequency makes you really feel it and analog is best. And when you look at being precise in how you want to activate the cell and having a calculated measure to deliver the exact frequency you want, we can go to 0.2 decimal points, and it's a robust piece of equipment. The results we're seeing are so incredible, and our clients don't feel any jarring. So it's a very comfortable experience. And in creating that coherence, the body is in a state, the nervous system is regulated, which you know so much about. And the healing potential and regenerative ability of the body is, I don't want to say limitless, but you can accomplish so much with just that. So those are some things that make us different.
No, that's great. I mean, and then you're not interfering with the body's natural capacity to change, because we've been doing this for 200,000 years. We
Yeah.
walk by the ocean and it's 10 hertz frequency or a body of water, and we get that evoked potential. We go by the in the high gamma range, like an earthquake or a what would we say, a lava flow or something like that. Your body will be up there in 88 to 90 hertz frequency. So that's pretty sweet what you're doing. So for the listeners who know about PMF broadly, let's just talk a little bit about what makes PEMF the next evolution, and what problems are you trying to solve that the other PMF systems just don't even know about, or maybe aren't even worried about.
Yeah. So being able to learn from someone who's had so many decades in the space, I definitely had an advantage for looking at this industry in a different way. And we give longer sessions and durations. There is a compounding effect, which is incredible, but just allowing the body to work with those natural rhythms and not only be localized. I mean, if you target just one thing or one symptom or one spot, you're missing out on the part that helps the entire system to regulate itself. And like what you said, we're creative. We make our own MSC stem cells. We produce our own T cells. So when you have the body in a state with that coherence, with the nervous system balance, and then the cell voltage potential, because PEMF works largely in the voltage of the cell, right? How much energy does your cell have to be able to do what it needs to do? And that's where we really find our sweet spot, which then allows the body to do all different things. And those are some of the gaps that we saw. The digital delivery is really tremendous. We're not really trying to guess or using a system. We're like, oh, maybe this is it. We know the frequencies that work. We use different harmonics, but it's all based off of the natural planet's ability.
I know at the beginning I said, this isn't woo. I mean, people think about frequencies, but I like to, someone once explained it and I said, hey, I'm going to rip that off because, some people say things so well, but think about a fish tank for a moment. And this is how most people look at their illness. The fish tank is polluted and you got fish running around. So they take the fish out. This is the liver, the kidneys, the whatever. They take the fish out. They nurse it back to health. It's really good. But then they put it right back into the fish tank. And then the fish gets sick again. They don't change the environment. How does your system, when we're talking about DEMF, or how does this clean the system? Because when we talk about regenerative medicine and cellular performance, and the nervous system shifts, because a lot of people are locked in sympathetic drive. They don't even get into parasympathetic, and their circulation is terrible. They're thinking their blood test is right. That's only 23% of the blood. The capillaries are clogged. The mitochondria support it's like the fire has got dirty leaves on top of it, even though they have, there's this, the mitochondria wants to broadcast its signals and do its thing. Inflammation is high. Tell me a little bit about how this product in this session, because you have it at your clinic, right? People can come in and enjoy this process.
Yep. Yeah. So, before I came into the company, they'd worked with over 6,000 people. And since I've been here, we've worked with quite a few hundred now at this point. And all of the things you just mentioned, this one non-invasive thing is able to hit as a foundational layer, which is so incredible. So the first thing that we see, we don't really deal with one mechanism. Like you said, you can't take one part out and be like, let's fix this one part, but not fix everything else that's going on. It doesn't really make sense. We're kind of in a Groundhog Day situation then. So our system is very systemic. And when we work, the first thing we probably see is the nervous system start to downregulate and come out of that sympathetic and activate the parasympathetic. And if I have, we have a range of different frequencies we can choose from, and it's very tailored to each of our clients depending on their need. I love using neural check to kind of see where their stress signals are before we even start with their protocol. And if someone's very hijacked, more so, everyone's hijacked, but if someone's very hijacked, then we'll just spend some sessions doing only nervous system regulation prior to even getting into the rest. Because if you don't have that part down, it's like you're trying to fight an uphill battle. And then after we regulate the nervous system, and that takes time, this is not a one and done type thing. Anyone who promises one session you're healed, first of all, healed is not the correct word, but it doesn't work. So you have to do protocols and repetition, and you're really retraining the system, right? And teaching it how to operate in a new
What
way
I like to
without
tell
all
people,
these outside
Jessica,
things.
what I like to tell people is there's no there. You're never done. You're running. When you get up in the morning, you didn't realize you were running the human race. You're at the 100-yard dash and go, wait, I didn't sign up for this. What do you mean I got to run the 100-yard dash? You never trained for it. Their nervous system, every day is different. Every day is a challenge. So this is a way to upregulate our nervous system, to get our body going. But I want you to explain a little bit, because you used NeuroCheck on yourself, and we talked a little bit about this when we met and online. Tell us a little bit about what you noticed happen, because again, this is science. This isn't woo-woo. This is something that truly moves the needle in real life situations where it can be verified by science what's happening to your body. Even though you feel like you're just laying there, having a rest.
It's very relaxing.
Yes, your body is getting these changes. So tell us a little bit about what you noticed with NeuroCheck.
Yeah, I actually wrote down my numbers. So when I was using NeuroCheck, I had come out of a very stressful week. And like you said, there's no up and down, right? Especially doing all of the things in life that we have to do as humans. And I just did a setting on one of our lower frequencies. I helped to regulate my system. And in 1 hour session, I brought my autonomic nervous system from a 487 up to a 2,962. And my balance went from 578 being out of balance to 101.
Awesome.
So it was pretty incredible to see that, and that's super helpful. But after we work on the nervous system, what happens to hit all the other points you talked about, the next thing we probably see come the quickest is inflammation come down. And when that inflammation comes down in the body, because your mitochondria is pumping, your microcirculation is pumping, we're fueling all of your cells, your body has more energy, it goes into the ATP, ADP production, and your body starts to send these new helper cells to whatever area you need, which I love about having a full body system, because I don't have to try to figure out necessarily where that nerve pain or that one thing is coming from. Your body is so intelligent, and it knows how to work out things in the order that it needs to work them out.
Yeah, most people don't realize that the body has an innate intelligence. It knows how to heal. It's designed to evolve, actually, and be healthy and enlightened. This is what they showed in, the Hindu religion. They call it a religion, but that was the English people. It was actually a system of human evolution. That's why Ayurvedic and all the technologies, and when they go to the mountains and meditate at 7.8 hertz frequency, the body is getting these, and it's responding. The body's responding by producing GABA, which is the precursor to DMT. So people can have these kind of out-of-body kind of experiences, or these mountaintop experiences. So tell me a little bit about what kind of real-world outcomes are you seeing in the clinic? Because, when you have hundreds of people coming on there, I know that 10% of the people maybe you can't do anything with. They're so locked, and they're so maybe biased in a negative way that nothing's going to happen. But there's a 10% of the people that have these wow experiences. They're just blown away, certain almost like mystical experiences. Tell me a little bit about what you've seen happen when you use your luxury bed at home.
Yeah, so exactly to your point, there's a little bit of a bell curve, right? Where on both sides you have these scenarios, and we've had some really incredible things that I've seen with our clients where I don't know, you start working on the body, and people go through these experiences where things unlock for them that they didn't know were possible, or they didn't realize they could not feel pain in that way anymore, and they didn't realize that they could have so much energy, or maybe they had a condition that they came in with that they thought was pretty much a life sentence. And I don't want to use any specifics because I have to be very cautious with that. But what our clients are saying to us, and we do rounds of 12 sessions, and we can handle many acute things in that point. And for more chronic things, someone may choose to spend more time with us just because they feel so good, or they want to do a little more work, especially across some of the autoimmunes and things like that. But the universal feedback is that this is very similar to how people feel doing regenerative therapies. And we're able to do it non-invasively and at a lot less of the cost for our clients coming in. So we make it more accessible. Not everyone can afford to go do full body stem cells in Panama. and sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes you just have to help get the body to an environmental state and a level of coherence where it can just do these things on its own. And one of my clients, I was talking to him yesterday, so it was kind of perfect timing. And he's a former NFL guy and, pretty amazing person, very connected to himself energetically as well, which you don't have to be for this to work, but it does help if you can recognize it. And he said, I try to explain to people how I feel after using your equipment. And my battery, what I feel when I have a conversation with my wife, and she goes, what's your battery at the end of the day? How much resources do you have left? Which I love in a relationship, doing that. And he goes, my battery feels so full, but I feel so calm. And it's something different that I haven't experienced in a long time. And I said, well, it makes sense. Like, your sympathetic nervous system is normally so hijacked. You have all these kids, you're running around, you have your job, your companies, all this stuff. And that will give you a state of cortisol and feeling like you have energy, but you're exhausted at the end of it. So what we're doing by activating that parasympathetic response, but increasing the mitochondrial function, he has this pure, clean, relaxed energy, which then, talking about sleep and talking about the architecture of all these other things that are so important to our healing, he sleeps easier. Most people will say that they may not feel like they had a longer sleep, but they had a much more deep rested sleep. And it's because we're getting that body into a state where it can now start to regenerate and repair itself. So when we were looking at, we had many clients that just decided they wanted to keep coming. And some of our clients have the means to be able to keep doing that. So the conversation started coming up with, well, could I put this in my home? And with PEMF and our evolution DEMP, you don't have to be a doctor to operate it. And we made it very, very easy to use. So luxury, yes, it feels comfortable and it looks beautiful and it has zero gravity and all of these things, but it's also about compliance. And how easy is it to use? How much does it want to make you come back and use it some more? Because to your point, when we're constantly getting affected, you want something that you can't wait to get back to, and things that you can use throughout the day and that have a really long lifespan. So this equipment is more, I like to tell my clients, I said, this is not a gadget or something that you're going to get on a trend. This is something, and very similar to brain tap as well, where you're going to use it over a very long period of time. It's an investment. And when you look at stuff like your health span, which I know Dr. Isaac Jones, and I know you're familiar with him too. I'm in his longevity course. And I love the way he teaches and educates in his course, because it's not about how many years you have, it's how good you feel in those years. And how much can you extend that and keep your body in this regenerative state while also supporting the nervous system. It's not a forced repair, right? It's regulating you so that you can regulate yourself for a long time.
Right. I think it's important to really, let's reiterate a little bit about sleep, because sleep is when you incubate those sleep superpowers we need during the day. It really isn't about length of time. I mean, longevity studies show 6.5 hours is optimal. 1 hour of deep sleep, 2 hours of REM sleep, and you'll crush any Aura score or Apple Watch score. Because most people get, like our study we did with Australian coal miners, they were in bed for 10 hours a night on average before we did the study. And they were only getting 1 minute of deep sleep. Their sleep scores were terrible. Within 3 weeks, we improved them up to 70%. So with this, what you're talking about is clean energy. I always tell people, there's a saying when people have children, they go, my kids are too tired to sleep. Well, the reality is most adults are too tired to sleep. They don't have the energy because they have the wrong energy, like you were saying. So with DEMP, you can generate ATP. ATP generates a lot of different things: nitric oxide, oxygen. That nitric oxide is opening up the capillaries, bringing blood flow and circulation to the body. There's a cascade of effects that's happening in the body. So how soon, when somebody gets on the bed and they go through the process, when do they start to feel the effects? And does it compound as they use it more often?
Yeah, that's a great question. With our newest model, And I continue to be impressed because I'm partnered with engineers, as you as you know, as an inventor yourself. Everything's always progressing, which is why I love the ability to update the software.
Mhm.
So with our system, typically nowadays, with our old model, it may take 3 sessions for someone to start really feeling something happen. Now it's as soon as the first session. Probably 90% of people that get onto the newer equipment feel it, if not during session, when they get off the session, and then the effects in their body as well, which is why we're able to do shorter protocols. It does compound though. It's like a muscle that you build, right? So the more you do it, the more your body recognizes it. I have some clients get on and they can feel full energy waves moving through them. I think that's one of the things that pulled me into, my obsession pretty much with this technology to make it my life. And I have some clients that are on the equipment for 4, 5, 6 sessions. They don't feel the energy, but they may feel like waves, but they may feel I call them activations. The body sending cells or triggering a nerve as it starts to work through injury points. And then we do have a group of clients that don't feel anything and they just progress and start to get better. And their benefits, maybe it's a sleep, or maybe they just feel a little bit heightened. Sometimes we'll have people say their senses feel sharper from the increase of oxygen and blood flow to the brain. And it's pretty, it's cool. It's a really cool thing. I'm sure working with BrainTap, you're still constantly seeing things where you're like, wow, this technology is just so helpful. And really everyone needs to be using this for how our world is formed these days.
They're being bombarded right now with all the negative EMFs. We need to, like I said, we're running a race. It's called the human race. So how are you preparing? How are you building your muscles, your ligaments, your tendons? How are you building your brain? It's all frequency. It's light, sound, and vibration. So if you're not tuning up those cells, then you're letting the environment tune you. And right now, tuning to our environment is bad because they're broadcasting these high frequencies, 50 million pulses per second if you walk by a 5G tower. And so the cells don't know what to do with that. They know what to do with, and I've said this many times for people that follow the Brain Fitness podcast, 0.5 to 100. That's the magical numbers for our body. Our body knows those frequencies. It tunes into those frequencies. It releases. When you talked about activations, this is exactly it. Imagine for a moment, Jessica, that it's 2015, you're in medical school. You're learning about the lymphatic system. And you're told that the lymph system stops at the neck. Because every physiology book before 2015, that's where it stopped. But then you're doing a sleep study, and you're the doctor that notices, what is this activation? What is happening in the brain? The brain literally opens up the glial lymphatic system. Never before heard of. Imagine that. All the years of medical history. What else could these frequencies unlock within us? We're like X-Men. What other capacities? Most people don't realize, too, in 2018, when they discovered epigenetics, because in 2003, when they said, hey, we mapped the human genome, sorry, Jessica, 99% of you is junk. They said that junk DNA. But then what they realized was that that's not true. That in 2018, we finally had science, not woo-woo, but science that shows if I could take, Jessica, your DNA, staple it to the floor where you're sitting, it would stretch to Pluto. And MIT says this viscous material absorbs codes from the universe and broadcast them into the body. So imagine you're sitting in a chamber with DEMP, and now you're getting the codes directly downloaded to the body in the right format, in the right region for a certain period of time. Now your body can recalibrate because the true genetic memory of who you are, the true code for your health, your longevity, is not somewhere out there. It's not in a pill, a bottle, or whatever. I mean, there are a lot of people doing all the right things like training, supplements, diagnostics. So tell me a little bit about where DEMP fits in for these high performers, because a lot of BrainTap users, like when we go to Dave Asprey's event, of course, we have all the high peak performers, Ben Greenfield, Dave Asprey, all these people, they're all BrainTap users. But what would they find in using this as part of their longevity stack?
Yes, I love this question so much. So are you familiar with the True Age Diagnostic Test?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So True Age Diagnostics takes, it looks at your epigenetics, your methylation patterns, and comes up with something called an ohmic age. And that's what they rank your biological age as, right? And just from being around our equipment, my ohmic age came back as 18, and I'm 34.
Wow.
I was like, yes,
Well, you look
that's amazing.
Instagram post. You look
Well, because it helps to correct things. I wasn't in wellness for 4 years ago. I was a bartender with an extreme lifestyle, right? And I ate a lot of processed food because I was skinny, so I could get away with it, I thought. It's amazing how much better I feel now with being around our equipment so much. But to your point about methylation and epigenetics, my epigenetics and methylation patterns came back perfect. My immune markers came back perfect. So it just speaks to the power of this as a foundational level.
I would
layer.
love to have you send Tiana, so we can put with this podcast for those listening a link to that test. Because
I will.
Because I'm a young 64, so on my equipment I show up as 31 years old. I'd love to see how this does it. I mean, I can still do everything I could do more than I could do at 30 because I'm taking care of myself. But it's a matter of doing these things. So continue. I just think this is a cool test that I've never heard of.
It's such a cool test. I learned about it through the HEA longevity group. And I was kind of nervous to get it back. I was like, I don't know. Like, I know I feel better with my equipment, but this better come back really cool. And it blew me out of the water. So I only really use our equipment. I've used Brain Tap, and I love it, of course. A little bit of red light and some simple binders, but nothing that would have made that big of a difference, save how we're able to stimulate my mitochondria. So stackability wise, the same way people use PEMF as a foundational level, what we're saying is we can accomplish more because we activate the body in a more complete and comprehensive way. And when you stack anything else with something that increases and helps to regulate the cell voltage and the energy of the cell, all of those things work better, right? So your training results come back better, your supplements get absorbed better, your cell membrane permeability is improved, where supplement and nutrients are absorbed and toxins get removed. And then getting your body into that rested state, we just see really incredible things. So it's very stackable. We have had people on top of our equipment do IVs, do NAD. You can pair it with red light, you can pair it with ozone, hydrogen. So pretty much anything you put it with is a go. The only thing you can't do with PEMF, which I've learned through someone, is do not do an iron IV on top of your PEMF or DEMP equipment. Don't do that. You will break the equipment. But otherwise, it's just a tremendous accelerator. And we've seen, I work with a really big biohacker. I'm not going to mention his name because he didn't see my text before I got on the call. But he tracks everything, Oura rings on all the time, sleep score, and he does all of these things for the last 30 plus years, regulating and working with biohacking. He coaches people as well. And with one session on our equipment, and I gave him like the full 100 because I was like, all right, I've got you for one day. And also using our brain apparatus device because we had it on the bed just to help sync the environment, not necessarily guide him as you do with yours. He had a perfect sleep score for the next 5 days. I got a call 5 days later. He goes, Jess, I've used so many different devices. One time for 5 days, that's incredible with everything else I do. And it wasn't just our equipment. We amplified all of the other things he's been doing and accelerated them to work even better.
This is great. If you're tired of trying harder and ready to start recovering smarter, this is your signal. Visit DEMPtechnology.com to explore breakthroughs in regenerative tech. Mention this podcast and receive a complimentary first session at Infinity Clinics. It's time to experience the energy, clarity, and resilience your body was designed for. Because true longevity isn't about living longer. It's about living better. As you said earlier, it's about living better. So tell us a little bit about your clinic and how they can get involved with you. We have like I said, we have 3,000 clinics out there using Brain Tap. If they wanted to bring this into their clinic and expand your reach, how would they do that? So two
Yeah,
questions.
so
One is for the end user, one is for the practitioner.
of course, of course. So for the end user, our beds, they are luxury items and long-term investments, but they are available both for home use, and we have our clinic. Our clinic is a more affordable way to even come try it out if you'd like. So we have an office in Fort Lauderdale, and we have an office in North Miami as well. We are very excited for expansion. We just debuted at Art Basel in Miami, so word is getting out, and we're excited to start sharing this. So anyone who is in the area or wants to travel, and we have people traveling from all over the country, you can find us on Instagram. You can reach out on our office phone number. It's 954-498-1320. And we can include that with the podcast details,
Yeah.
or on Instagram. That's
We'll put
great.
all your Instagram and social media, LinkedIn, all those will be in the show notes. So if you're driving and listening to this, just go back to wherever you listen to this, and that information will be there along with the age test, which I think is interesting. You're going to get me that.
Oh, it's so exciting. Yeah, it's an amazing test. And for a clinic side, we are strategic, and I just want to make sure I align with what they're doing, those foundational concepts, and making sure people think like we think to partner. But we're very excited to expand, and I have a lot of people asking me in the country if we have them in places like Arizona and California and New York. So just getting in touch with the information below and having a conversation is a great way. And the first session for anyone on this podcast, like Dr. Porter said, we want to share it. We want to help you experience it and let you see what we're able to help you do for yourself.
Sure. Next time I'm in Florida, I'm going to actually make an appointment for sure. And
Yeah.
I didn't know if you know, but I'm building out 88 acres here in New Bern, North Carolina. We're building out Mystic Pine Sanctuary. It's going to be,
Amazing.
we call it Brain Camp. We're going to build first 12 units, which will be kitchenettes and bathrooms so people can bring their own food and make their own things. And then we're going to have all the biohacking gear there. And a lot of my partners, they're going to put in their technology, because as these biohackers come in for their week-long vacation for Brain Camp, they can try these things out and we can test them. I saw on your Instagram you had live blood cell analysis. We have that too. We show what happens. And that's a great way to show them what happens, because a lot of these PEMF devices, they don't do a good job cleaning the blood. It's actually worse. And it's sad when I have to tell them, I go, I can't promote your product because I don't see the results. But when you see what you showed on your Instagram post about the live cell analysis, dark field analysis, I think people understand that right now the blood is we're being targeted really with our diet, with our lifestyle, our stress and that. So what if I forgot to ask you before we end the call today, because this is fascinating and I hope everyone understands this is Star Trek type technology. I mean, we're talking about the future. When Bones would walk in and they'd be laying on the bed and they'd have all that stuff going on and the body's getting changed. They were using frequencies on Star Trek. They didn't even know what they were doing, but the body was being changed. You're now developing a bed that does these things. So to tell, and the nice thing is that you don't have to make any claims. The body knows how to heal itself. Just make the body, create this environment for the body to heal, and it does the work. You don't have to put in a pill. I like to tell people, you can't have the pill without the skill. The body knows what to do with frequencies. So what if I forgot to ask you or reinforce that we've talked about for the listeners before we end the call today?
The biggest thing that I just want to land with is that you don't have to force anything. Your body is smart enough once it's regulated and you have coherence between the environment, bioelectrically, your state and your nervous system. And when you have those two things in place, we do have ways to target organs and muscle and tissue and bone, but all we're doing is kind of adding more power to help target the area that your body knows it needs help in. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to do anything crazy. It doesn't have to feel jarring. It can feel very peaceful. And I call it elegant because someone comes in, they're like, wow, I just feel so good after. And it can be, you can be so supported without so many of the outside things that are being chased these days. And that's the body is so intelligent. You've said it, but the body is beautifully made and it can do so much on its own.
That's excellent. Well, Jessica, I appreciate you contacting me, getting together. This is technology we want to share with the world, so we're going to get it out to everyone. And if you're listening right now, I'm on a mission to better 1 billion brains. So it's your brain I'm talking to right now. Go ahead and do your research. Go to the links below. Find out if this is a technology that you want to bring to your city, maybe if you're a practitioner, or if you're somebody that wants to go try it out. If you're in Florida, where one of their centers are, you can go in, try it out for yourself. Let's get the word out there to practitioners and people that, hey, there is frequency medicine out there that can tune the body. Remember, we're tuning the body so it can receive the natural communication that it needs to live the life that we're destined to live. Not to live to be 3,000 years old. I love it when I was at RadFest, I told everybody, congratulations, you're going to live forever. The bad news is not in this body. The people, let's live in this body though as much as we can in health. Like you said, it's not about how long we live. It's the years of our life. Do we have real joy, love, happiness? Do we have connection? Are we making a difference? And that comes down to one thing, energy. If we don't have energy, we can't do any of those things. We have to sit on the couch and be a slug. So let's get our cells energized, revitalized. And Jessica, you have a technology that needs to be out there. It needs to be in every city and every clinic. So
I agree.
We're going to visualize that for you and make that happen. So again, this has been the Brain Fitness Podcast. This isn't woo. This is brain science. This is all. Save your beliefs about what we talked about for Sunday morning. That's where your beliefs are best served. But the reality is this is science. It's been proven. She's used NeuroCheck and other technologies to prove out what's going on when you're exposed to these frequencies. You've heard me talk about the 0.5 to 100 frequencies before because this is our body's frequencies. This is what our body is used to doing. It takes no effort for the body. It's like breathing. When you're in a great room where it's open air and you have great oxygen, your body knows what to do with that oxygen. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to say, okay, lungs, breathe in, breathe out. The body knows what to do. Your cells respirate. They breathe. But they're looking for frequency. They're listening to frequency. Every cell has a mirror neuron, and it mirrors that frequency. So imagine there's technology today that you can lay down for an hour, like you said, or less, and your body can tune up. Just like tuning up an engine in a car, you can tune your body so that you can be in the right frequency. And what we know is as you tune the cells, you have something called photobiomodulation, even without light, because there's something called the electron transport chain that most people don't realize. This electron transport chain is what it is it's electrical energy. Everything you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, think about, bring about, everything around you is all converted to energy, which is light. So remember, you are a light being. And this light needs to be recharged. Just like charging your cell phone in the morning, you need to charge up your body. And when you feel your body is like your cell phone, you look at it, oh my God, I don't have enough charge to make the rest of the day. You do a reboot. You recharge the body in that way. This is what we teach every day at BrainTap and other technologies, how to stack them with it. So again, Jessica, thanks for being on the call. Thanks for bringing your technology to the world. And let's get people out there trying it and achieving their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual goals by using it, because it all starts with energy. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Now, guys, it's your turn. I want you to like and share this video. Get it out to the world. Let them know that there is a new boss in town called DEMP, and you can digitally use electronic fields magnetically pulsing through your body to tune your cells up. Let's like and share this with anyone you know. Now, I want to recommend you share this with only people with a brain and a body, because this is going to help them connect those two so they work better. So let's get out there and change the world one brain at a time. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on our mission to better a billion brains. Follow at Dr. Patrick Porter on social media for updates, and remember to practice brain fitness every day.